Hello everyone. After viewing this video, there are 3 questions that you should be able to answer. The first is, what are 2 interventions that you can utilize in an inpatient rehabilitation facility? The second is, what is 1 frame of reference that you can utilize in this facility? And the third is, what are 2 to 3 other disciplines that OTs collaborate with in this facility?
So HealthSouth is a fast-paced setting in nature. You need to be able to adapt to any situation that gets thrown your way, such as a patient canceling, a patient coding, nursing needing to give meds, doctors interrupting your treatment sessions, etc. With the high demand of reaching the patient's hour and a half a day with you, you need to ensure that you coordinate with other disciplines to make sure that you're reaching the proper hours.
Specifically in inpatient rehab, we were all set to HealthSouth locations, including in West Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. So we all had unique experiences. And in those facilities, there were multiple number of beds, up to 70 beds or more in the locations. And we all were one-on-one with our supervisor. However, there were other OT students there, as well as other disciplines of students as well.
So a typical day at HealthSouth was from around 8 to 10 hours, and most of us started around 7 or 8 a.m. We saw a patient every hour or 1.5 hours, and most of them were one-on-one, but they could be concurrent or grouped. And our mornings consisted of ADLs or evals, and then most of the afternoon was taking the patients down to the gym to work on something that they wanted to do. And documentation for each patient had to be done by the end of the day, but most of us tried to get them done within the hour. And then at the end of the day, most of us sat with our therapist to create a schedule for the next day.
At HealthSouth, we worked with multiple diagnoses, including spinal cord injuries, traumatic brain injuries, orthopedic injuries, generalized weakness and deconditioning, quadriplegics, Parkinson's disease, as well as many other disorders and diagnoses. And with these disorders and diagnoses, we had ages 2 to over 100 years old. So you can expect to see multiple clients with different things going on with them.
So there are many members within the interdisciplinary team in this facility. Many include the case manager, a social worker, the doctor, the nurse practitioner, the physician's assistant, the speech therapist, the physical therapist, the OT, and the OT assistant. So in an inpatient rehab facility, you have rehab meetings. And during these meetings, each member of the patient's team get together and talk about what they have for their patient's recommendations. So they'll ask you like what OT recommendations are, and you would advocate for your patient and also tell them where you think your patient needs to go next.
Healthcare policy related to this site includes HIPAA, billing and insurance policies, the ACA, and OSHA. Success and lessons learned. You want to make sure you definitely develop a way to organize patient information. You want to get down a good documenting system. Make sure you wear a watch for time management so you can time things and so you know what time it is. You want to make sure you ask questions whenever you have them and get help when you need it. Things that you want to go over before you go into inpatient rehab is definitely your general anatomy. You want to go over precautions for like spinal cord, hip, sternal precautions. You want to make sure that you look through goniometry and manual muscle testing, as well as if you get the opportunity, you do want to make sure you try and work alongside another discipline if you're able to kind of view what they do so you understand how we all work together as an interdisciplinary team.
So I had a patient that was extremely young who presented with Guillain-Barré syndrome. For me, it was very challenging because I had to come up with interventions that were appropriate for the diagnosis but also appropriate for the age. So I had to make it really fun, and it was pretty cool to see like a person going from really no movement at all to walking out of your facility in such a short time frame.
During my inpatient rehab experience, I had a specific patient that I really thought changed my view on being a therapist. He came in, he was a stroke patient, and we started doing our therapy and everything was going well, and he was about to discharge out of inpatient rehab to go home. And one morning he woke up with a lot of right-sided weakness, drooping in the face, and he was sent down to the emergency room and returned back up to inpatient rehab that afternoon with, he had suffered another stroke, and we had to start all over from the beginning. His symptoms were worse than before, and it really just changed the way I thought of occupational therapy, because he was a completely different patient now, and he really relied on me to then start all over and get him sent back home like he originally wanted to do.